Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I will take you on a journey through the life of one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, Ted Bundy. This narrative will delve into his early life, the horrifying crimes he committed, and the eventual justice that was served. Prepare yourselves for a tale that is as compelling as it is chilling. Early life. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. His early life was marked by confusion and deception. He was born out of wedlock to Eleanor Louise Cowell and grew up believing that his grandparents were his parents and that his mother was his sister. This familial deception created a complex psychological foundation that some experts believe contributed to his later behavior. Bundy was a shy and introverted child, but he was also bright and academically inclined. His early years were not devoid of normalcy. He engaged in typical childhood activities and showed an interest in the legal system. However, underlying this facade of normality was a brewing storm: education and early adult life. Ted Bundy attended the University of Puget Sound and later transferred to the University of Washington, where he studied psychology. It was during this time that he began a relationship with a woman named Stephanie Brooks, who he described as his first love. When Brooks ended their relationship, citing Bundy's lack of ambition and immaturity, it deeply affected him. This rejection is often cited as a pivotal moment in Bundy's life, contributing to the development of his violent tendencies. After the breakup, Bundy became more focused and determined. He graduated with a degree in psychology and was accepted into law school. However, his studies were frequently interrupted as he began his murderous rampage. The murders begin. Ted Bundy's killing spree began in the early 1970s, targeting young women. His modus operandi involved luring his victims by feigning injury or disability, asking for their assistance, and then abducting them. Bundy was charming and handsome, traits that made it easier for him to gain the trust of his victims. His first confirmed murder was in 1974, although it is believed that he began killing as early as 1971. Bundy would bludgeon his victims into unconsciousness before sexually assaulting and killing them. He then disposed of their bodies in secluded locations, often revisiting the crime scenes to engage in necrophilia. Bundy's killing spree spanned several states, including Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Florida. He was extraordinarily cunning, often changing his appearance and employing different aliases to evade capture. The Washington and Oregon murders. In Washington and Oregon, Bundy's early victims were college students. He would often approach them in broad daylight on university campuses, feigning a physical injury and asking for help. His charm and good looks made him appear non-threatening, which facilitated his approach. One of his early victims was Linda Ann Healy, a University of Washington student who disappeared from her basement bedroom in January 1974. Her skull was later found on Taylor Mountain, along with the remains of several other women. The Utah and Colorado killings. Bundy moved to Utah in the fall of 1974 to attend law school. The disappearances of young women in the region quickly followed. In October, he abducted and killed Melissa Smith, the 17-year-old daughter of a police chief, and Laura Aim, also 17, whose body was found in a canyon. In Colorado, Bundy continued his rampage. In January 1975, Karen Campbell disappeared from a hotel hallway in Aspen, Colorado. Her body was discovered a month later, showing signs of a brutal assault, arrest, and escape. Ted Bundy was first arrested in Utah in August 1975 when a police officer pulled him over for a driving violation and found burglary tools in his car. Further investigation linked him to several unsolved crimes. In 1976, he was convicted of kidnapping Carol Durant, who had managed to escape from Bundy's car. He was sentenced to up to 15 years in prison. However, Bundy's story didn't end there. In June 1977, while being transferred to a court hearing in Aspen, Bundy managed to escape by jumping out of a library window. He was captured 8 days later. His second escape occurred in December 1977, when he managed to saw a hole in the ceiling of his cell and climbed out. He fled to Florida, where his most notorious crimes would occur: the Florida murders. In Florida, Bundy committed some of his most brutal and widely publicized murders. In January 1978, he broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. In a horrifying attack, He bludgeoned and strangled two women, Lisa Levy and Margaret Bowman, and severely injured two others. A few weeks later, he abducted and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, whose body was found in a pig shed. Capture and trial. Bundy was finally captured in February 1978 after a routine traffic stop. His trial for the Chi Omega murders was a media sensation. Bundy, a former law student, acted as his own attorney, turning the courtroom into a spectacle. Despite his efforts to manipulate the proceedings, he was convicted of the murders and sentenced to death in 1979. In 1980, Bundy was also convicted of the murder of Kimberly Leach and received a second death sentence. Over the next decade, he exhausted a series of appeals and legal maneuvers, all of which failed: confessions and psychological profile. In the days leading up to his execution, Bundy began to confess to his crimes, providing details that only the killer would know. He admitted to 30 murders, though the actual number of his victims is believed to be much higher. Psychologists and criminal profilers have studied Bundy extensively. He exhibited characteristics of antisocial personality disorder and psychopathy, including a lack of empathy, superficial charm, and a propensity for manipulation and deceit. Bundy himself attributed his behavior to an addiction to violent pornography, though this explanation has been met with skepticism by experts. Execution. Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison on January 24, 1989. His execution was met with public spectacle, with crowds cheering and celebrating outside the prison. His death marked the end of one of the most terrifying chapters in the history of American crime. Conclusion. Ted Bundy's life and crimes continue to fascinate and horrify people around the world. His ability to charm and manipulate, coupled with his monstrous acts, make him a unique and chilling figure in the annals of criminal history. His story serves as a grim reminder of the potential for evil that can lurk behind a seemingly ordinary facade. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this detailed account has provided you with a deeper understanding of Ted Bundy and the dark legacy he left behind.